Hey, what's going on? How's it going, you guys? You out there, how are you doing? You
Welcome.
got, Madam, please go. I'm Elijah I. Ruben. This is,
This is Jen Corn.
yes. Hey, we just wanted to hop on, connect with you directly. We her and I were talking about kind of what's it take to start thinking like a sophisticated investor. All right, I mean, being in the real estate game for 17 years, was always a sophisticated investor. I share people become sophisticated investor. Jennifer, you've been on your journey for you becoming a sophisticated investor. What does it look like to start thinking about one, thinking as one, right?
Yeah, so we're making this video to share with you guys the different ways that you can differentiate from other investors or other wholesalers by thinking like a sophisticated investor. And even if you're just getting started, this is going to be real good information for you to start, connecting with sophisticated investors, to start educating yourself, to start really learning what it's going to take for you to become a sophisticated investor. So first, let's start off by talking about what is a sophisticated investor, and we'll kind of get right into how to start thinking like one.
Okay. So a sophisticated investor, and this is my opinion. Okay, this is my not Elijah Dictionary, right? Not Webster's. I think a sophisticated investor is a savvy investor who's able to understand opportunity costs, who's able to understand how to maximize on deals, how to create and feel for deals, and how to literally essentially turn something out of nothing or make something good become great.
Mm.
What's
Okay,
your thoughts?
I'm getting a lot of feedback. Is it your setup?
I mean, lower it. Is that better?
Yeah. So, well, a sophisticated investor, like you're saying, I really think it is being able to see opportunity and to create opportunity in a way that most who maybe are just getting started or don't really see the opportunity are able to. And so, in many cases, for us, we know a lot of investors who have been able to create, for example, specialize in a niche, to find opportunities within an opportunity, to find those kind of blue waters where no one else has really been able to excel in those areas, or maybe there has. So when you think about just the next tier of real estate investing, and really looking at your time as the investment, not just the money or the deal. And so
Mm,
the opposite of a sophisticated investor, maybe we can kind of share what that is, because we do come across a lot of investors who maybe are just getting started. They're not as sophisticated in the strategies, in all the different ways to solve a problem. And so let's talk about what that looks like for people who are getting started, so that they know, what they can work on, as well as how how to see
yeah,
what's
transition.
yeah.
Mm. I think it kind of breaks down into like four buckets, right? You got your new person who just started out, which some of you might be right in that bucket. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. Then I think you got your wholesaler. You did a deal, you wholesaling. Then you got your investor, where you're more committed. You actually have money in the game, skin in the game. And you have your sophisticated investor. So let's take it back to the genesis, right? Let's take it from the very beginning, where I don't care if somebody's making $1 million a month, or if they're only doing one deal a month. We all started at ground zero, all right? We all started at just beginning. And so if that's you and you just started out, you're like, yes, Jennifer, yes, Elijah, I want to become a sophisticated investor.
Mhm.
Well, it got very important to kind of figure out where you're at now, and just re-understanding where you're at and where you want to go. So my interpretation, somebody who's just starting out, you're kind of like not sure if real estate's real. You see people around you doing deals. You want to do this. You probably determined at some point you don't want to work for somebody. You want to be your own boss. You understand that real estate can create wealth. However, you're still really leery. You're still not sure how things can work out for you. And you're only like kind of like halfway in. You might spend $1,000 here and there. You might take calls, you might not. Super inconsistent. It's just kind of you're really making a lot of decisions based on how you feel. I feel like making calls, therefore I make calls. I feel like talking with somebody, I feel like driving for dollars, I'll drive for dollars. If I don't feel like it, no action is being taken. That's my kind of interpretation for that beginning person who's just starting out.
Yeah, and for that, I see a lot of people who maybe they get into like the entry level of a strategy, whether it be a marketing strategy or a real estate investing strategy, like creative financing. And what I see a lot of the people who are getting started is they're just trying something out for maybe like a month or two, and then they're moving on to the next thing. And so they're not giving themselves enough time just to get through and to really become an expert on that marketing strategy or that real estate strategy, or that market or niche. And so if you find yourself being in that place, we're going to help you out. So stick with us, and we're going to talk about some of the ways that you can make sure that you're getting the education you need, or that you're getting around the right people, or you're getting the right information that you need to start becoming a sophisticated investor, where you are becoming an expert in a market or a strategy, and you're starting to see your time more as a long-term investment, not just things that you can do, like you're saying, Elijah, when you feel like it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So that's like you just kind of starting out. That's where some of you guys might be. It's cool. We're all on ground zero, ground level. We're all started there. Every master was once a disaster. So you might not be a disaster, but you might still have those same, not sure if this works vibes. How am I going to make this work? I'll work around my schedule once in a while. Then those beginning investors kind of graduate to becoming wholesalers. All right, you're wholesaling, meaning you probably bought a course, you took some training, you may be part of a webinars, you're doing active learning, you believe it's real, you close a deal. I think you got to close a deal to consider yourself an investor. I mean, a wholesaler. You actually close a deal. You can practice wholesaling, but until you actually close a deal, I think you're not quite a wholesaler. You're still in the new beginning investor stage. Mm-hmm. So now that you're a wholesaler, you're more invested, you put more time in, you probably put a couple more dollars into marketing. You're seeing that from my actions, I can generate opportunities. So you start believing in you start taking more pride in developing a skill set. I think these are some of the things that happens on the wholesaling side. You're still not putting lots of money in there. You understand act to feel. All right, so you're taking more actions regardless of the feeling. So you might be out there door knocking. You might be making phone calls. You might be taking SMSs. You might be making phone calls on Sundays, what the average new person won't do. You're willing to do. Okay, so that's why I'm thinking that will be kind of that first part. Then after you go through the wholesale side, then you're looking at yourself as an investor. Now, the investor, you're highly invested. You're putting money either into marketing, where you're having a bigger scale operation, or you're doing fix and flips. You're doing buy and holds. You're using a lot more of your capital. More importantly, you're using a lot more of your time. However, you still might be going after all the generic deals with everybody else. You might just be absorbing fees to wholesalers because you don't want to go and get the deals yourself. And that might be a lot of people where they're at, where, hey, if the model works, I know plenty of investors who stay right here and do fine. However, the rest of you, the ones who understand, wholesaling is cool, being a regular investor is cool, but I want to become a sophisticated investor. I want to master in a niche. And that's where this happens. We start understanding opportunity costs. If I spend 10 hours fishing in the same pond that everybody else is fishing in, unless I have more fish hooks, bigger dollars, and spend out more time in there, it's going to be a hard time competing against everybody. So the sophisticated investors start focusing on going in ponds that nobody else is fishing. There are very few people. All right, so these are going to be the people who are putting themselves in a better position. These are going to be those Doug Hopkins out there, the Samir and Jay Harveys out there, Dave, Uncle Dave, Uncle Charles. These people specialize in taking a few targeted, very, very selective niches and drilling down on those and becoming a master of that niche. All right. What you want to do when you decide to become a sophisticated investor, you start looking at opportunity costs. Yeah, I can work on those 3 deals, or I can work on this one deal and that pays me 3 times the amount. Might take longer, but I'm going to have a better payout. It's a better use of my time. I think you mentioned something really at the beginning, Jenny, about sophisticated investors valuing their time different. Can you speak a
Yeah.
little bit?
So, yeah, when we think about being a sophisticated investor, one of the biggest things that I feel like we don't talk about is that investors, for the most part, really value their time, right? They don't want to trade time for work, like, an employee, for example. They're into real estate because they want to have real estate. They want to have real cash flow over time. They want to be able to find opportunities within real estate, whether you're flipping, regardless of what it is. We're looking to, at first, we're looking to raise capital, and we do that through wholesaling. Many times, then after, people go into flipping or go straight into buying holding. And so a lot of this is all about finding the right deals, obviously making the most amount of money, but then also making the most amount of money over time. And so if you're spending all the time, for example, if you do a fix and flip and you're doing all the repairs and you're investing your time and your money, and you're spending your money, you're the one doing the fix and flip, then that's not a very sophisticated approach to that investment strategy. So essentially, what a sophisticated investor does is that they look at their time as one of their biggest commodities, as well as their opportunities. Because we're in a wholesaling space, primarily, we are going to come across all kinds of different deals. And so there's been a few different approaches. Now, the approach that I see a lot of, that a lot of people want to follow, that is very lucrative, is a more of a, let's, keep it cookie cutter. These are the type of deals that we get. We do a lot of marketing and we get as many of those as we can. The problem with that is that if everyone is doing that, there is so much marketing going out to the specific group of people, and that leaves less opportunities for everyone else who's doing the same strategy. So what we've been able to see is that sophisticated investors, they have a unique approach because they've been in the business for a while. They have seen opportunities in areas where most people, especially entry level, are not seeing the opportunity, and they're capitalizing on that. They're investing their time on that. So what we see is a lot of that would be maybe creative financing or niches, like land or mobile home or those type of different niches, or fire damage, right? The
Mhm.
ability to go into a space that most people aren't used to and be able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, and I think and I'm so glad you brought down like the fix and flipper, because a lot of people weren't around for the last recession. Okay, and a lot of people, there's a lot of new gurus out there. There's a lot of you guys who are spending time fixing flipping deals, and I'm not saying that's a bad strategy. Absolutely good strategy. However, I'm talking you specifically, you flipper out there. I want you to be aware the first people who get hit the hardest when the market shifts. Well, we know it's going to shift. No, just no, nobody knows when yet, but at some point it will. Builders get hit hard, flippers get hit hard because nobody knows where the actual values are. And so that makes it a lot harder. And so what happens is if you're only being a one trick pony, if you're only spending time only going at flips and not diversifying yourself, meaning you're finding ways to generate some of your own deals. You're looking for multipliers, right? If I have to make every phone call myself, if I have to text everybody out myself, if I have to swing every hammer myself, there's only one of me and there's only 24 hours in a day. However, I can start getting multipliers, right? I can start getting multipliers where I have maybe a team and now I'm leveraging my team. I can have a multiplier where I might have an SMS campaign and now I can send 1,000 messages at once. I can have a multiplier where I start going after niches that very few people go after so that my marketing dollars travels further. Okay, so looking for multiples are one thing to start separating yourself from just being a new person, being a wholesaler, or just an average investor, right? Sophisticated investors look for multipliers. That's why when I came across the fire damage niche, once I saw I could get paid 3 times on one deal, I'm like, this is a multiplier. I could get paid more multiple times going after one deal versus only going after one deal. I mean, you have to ask yourself, do you want to do 50 deals a year? Or would you be okay making the same amount doing 10? You have to ask yourself, where's your time worth? How much time do you want to do? It sounds good, doing a bunch of all these deals, but if you get stuck where you're paying high dollars in marketing, high dollars employees, high office side, and you don't have a way to pivot because when the market shifts, people who have these high dollar amounts, it gets really tough for them. So this is what we want to be able to do. So we want you to be able to get yourself in a position where you start thinking outside the box. And by you thinking outside the box, meaning where are other people not looking at? Where are people avoiding? What are people afraid of? Where are natural needs? Because by you just spending time to think about those other areas, you will literally start separating yourself from everybody else. Sophisticated investors look for those pockets, you know, and see. And
what I wanted to say about that was, in my case, one of the things that I focus on, because Elijah, he's really good at finding the three checks, the negotiating, all of that. For me, I'm not behind the phones as much as he is. So I focus, when I think about multipliers, I focus on delegation. I focus on doing, one of my big things that I tell everybody is record one video per day where you are delegating a task. Right. So even in terms of like how we run our operations, I don't want to have to do everything forever. So when it comes to comping, when it comes to contracts, when it comes to pretty much any task in our business, we have a video for it. We have an SOP, a process, so that it can be done by someone else. And so even the back end admin process or the marketing process should be as delegated as possible when you're really thinking like a sophisticated investor, because if not, then you're investing your time doing paperwork versus just closing deals, marketing, or looking at strategies and finding ways to reach your end goal, which I think leads us right into the next one.
Yeah. And the thing is, just basically kind of think of the end in mind. I think what Jim Rose, all right, Jim Rose says the best time to build a house is when it's completed, right? So you do the project with the end in mind. You want to think, all right, you got to kind of move a couple of chess moves ahead. Yep. If you're able to start thinking in chess moves ahead, moving yourself, all right, hey, if I start going after subject twos, if I start going after deals that nobody else is able to do, well, then hopefully I'll be in front of the game, which some people were before we got that in place. So if you yourself right now, if you go after niches, meaning that you're not just only going after the generic stuff, like, listen, we go after some generic stuff too, because there's a lot of it. However, if any of you guys out there go after alternative niches, subject twos, short sales, low mods, fire damage properties, excess proceeds, cash for deeds, any of you guys go after those, what I want you to do right now, I want you to put 2 in the comments. I want to put 2 in the comments. Put 2 in the comments. I want to see how many of you out there are going after different niches. I mean, we all can't be one-trick ponies, right? There got to be some of us here who understands the value of start fishing in your own pond, separating yourself. So let me see who out there. Throw 2 in the chat. Throw 2 in the comments so I can see where you guys are at. Okay. And so, and this is what we want people to be able to do. We want you guys to be able to learn from other people. I know one thing I saw one investor doing, I tremendously respect him, because every time there's a market correction, every time there's a big adjustment, he is either right on the precipice of it, or he's already in front of the curve. There we go. I see you. Fitness tips. And so what ends up happening, he started doing excess proceeds when most people didn't even know what that was, or people overlooked those. And when the market shifted, he got away from excess proceeds and he started doing more notes. And so I want you to see, by you thinking a couple of chess moves ahead, where's this market going? Where's the buyer? Where's the supply and demand? Where's it going to be the check hold? And once we get that dialed in and we know where that check hold point is going to be, you want to be the release valve. You want to be the person who's going to help separate people from other areas. You're going to put yourself in a position to be in front of the curve so that you're not waiting like everybody else, like, oh my goodness, foreclosures aren't working anymore. Absentee owners aren't working anymore. Well, yeah, because there's 3 million new wholesalers entering in the game every single day. So if you don't want to compete against those people, if you want to be able to see some other ways to put yourself in a position to do deals, like where we've been able to do deals, the only way you can have 17 years worth of longevity in this game is to be able to pivot, to be able to think as a sophisticated investor. So if you guys want some techniques, some trainings we have some techniques that we talk about excess proceeds, we talk about some subject to, some creative deals, as well as let alone the fire damage niche. I want you to put in the comments, I want you to put hashtag get deals. Hashtag get deals. If you put hashtag get deals, what myself or one of our team members will send you some of our free trainings. Just we want to put you in a position to win. Like I said, I find it personally irresponsible for not taking the years of experience and knowledge I gained that the Lord has blessed me and Jennifer with to be have this type of longevity and not bring it back to the village for you. We want you to eat. We want you to feed your families. We want you to be ready when the market shifts. You're ready to play ball. So make sure you guys put hashtag get deals. If you guys want to get some other opportunities, you guys want some additional trainings, we're going to be able to reach out to you guys here in the future.
Yeah. So, when you talk about obviously looking at the end in mind, one of the biggest pieces right now that we have to consider is the market where it's at. A lot of people have their opinions. What we can tell you is that getting or learning strategies that are recession proof is what a sophisticated investor would do. So in this case, for us, it's fire damaged properties. We know that there's always going to be fires. There's about 365,000 fires that happen on property structures per year. And many of these go uncalled. Many investors that don't understand these deals, that are not sophisticated investors, are not reaching out to them. So it's a very untapped market. And then we also see other different, creative strategies, niche strategies. We want you to know about all of these, because when there is a market correction, that is where everyone's going to run to, and you can already be ahead of the curve by already having recession proof strategies under your belt and being able to think ahead, think with the end in mind. And talking about thinking with the end in mind, I think another big piece here is really having a goal of what are you doing with real estate. If you're just looking to make money or get capital, be very clear with what you're looking to create, and open to the different opportunities that are in your market or in your area to create them. If you are looking to buy and hold, for example, for us, we have a goal to buy and hold, which a lot of people do, but many times they're not really thinking with the end in mind, as far as like, are you going to want to have a property management for 30 single family homes? Like, do you even know what that looks like? Or, do you have the information for that? In our case, for example, right, we really are looking for more of like big units and multiple doors, so we don't have to have that much. Now, the goal is, again, to be a sophisticated investor, just to have your strategy on what is going to be your long-term play in real estate, and what are the different ways and opportunities that where you can survive a market crash, for example, that you will be prepared for it.
Yeah, and I think a couple of things are playing a role into this. All right, so I'm hearing that they're talking about extending the moratorium, so it's going to be extended. So if it extends the moratorium, so that means it's going to be less supply on the market, because all these foreclosures and all these evictions, nobody can go after those right now. All right, and so that means there's going to be less supply. It means there's more buyers. Demand's going to jump up the way it's been over this last year. This has been ridiculous. All right, and so the numbers are probably going to go higher. So understand, like Jennifer said, think about the end in mind. If you are an investor, if you are looking to do fix and flip, you got some months. But like I said, be careful. You got some months, because this is going to be a good time, because the values are going to jump. You're going to buy the property, and in 3-4 months, like I said, we're doing a deal right now, very, very highly desirable location, and like the properties jumped 250,000 in 9 months. Ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. So the values can jump up. What you want to be able to do, understanding if you want to be a buy and hold investor, know what, hey, even if the markets drop, rents should stabilize or even go up a little bit. All right, so understanding what price points you need to be at. Understand when the market shifts, where do I want to be marketing so I can swoop up these deals, because that's when the great transfer of wealth is going to happen. And sophisticated investors are always thinking chess moves. How do I position myself to make money now, but really cake up when the recession hits? And that's what I want you guys to be thinking about, putting yourself in a position, to be able to do more, putting yourself in a position to do more now, but really position yourself to clean up when the market shifts. Because when the market shifts, Even if buyers stop buying, if sellers stop selling, if lenders stop lending, like Jennifer said, fires are still going to happen, and insurance companies are going to underpay them. And so we can help homeowners get more insurance money on their property, even if we don't even buy them. So that's what we know from speaking from actual real life examples. We're walking results that this is recession proof niche, and this is people are going after these in upswing markets. People really are going after these in downswing markets. So separating yourself, think inside outside the box, think in the end of mind. Look for multipliers. Look for the cost opportunities. These are the way to start thinking how a sophisticated investor think. All right, and so that we just want to give you guys some tools, some strategies, some insight, right? So these things me and Jennifer talk about all the time. We're at dinner, we're talking like, you know what? We should show it our peoples. We should show it our peoples, and open up the conversation for you guys. Talk about that with your wives. Talk about those at your meetings, on your Zoom calls. Get real clear when the market shifts. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? How many units do you want? How much revenue you want to generate? What's going to be the plan for what you're doing right now? May not work. Do you have a plan B? Do you have a plan C? And what are you doing right now to move the chess moves on those? And that's what we want to be able to do. Give you guys as much value as possible. We want to keep these short and brief. We're not trying to make these all long down. These are just things me and Jennifer talk about all the time together. And we want to share with you guys, our family here. Okay.
So for those of you who are watching, I hope you guys got some value. Just really wanting to think like a sophisticated investor should be the goal for everyone in real estate. And we want to make sure that you're prepared for what is to come, as well as that you are learning these strategies. If you want to learn more about getting fire damage deals and how to approach these opportunities, we have tons of value we can share from you, from the top 15 questions to ask a fire damage seller to the 5 different ways that you can find fire damage deals in your market. So just click, you just have to add hashtag get deals in the comments. Our team will send you a message with the training. Okay, so you guys can get all of this value. All you have to do is just hashtag get deals, and keep us updated in the Fire Damage Profits Facebook group. If you have any opportunities there, that you make sure you guys are using that resource for your fire damage needs. Anything else you want to say, Elijah?
Yeah, no, like I said, we just wanted to watch you guys shift your point of view, shift that POV, regardless if you're starting out right now as a beginning person, if you're a wholesaler, if you're a mid-level investor, it's never too late to start fresh, thinking about becoming a sophisticated investor. Put yourself in those positions. We just want to make sure we add value. We want to make sure we connect with you guys and put yourself really in a position to win. So with that being said, we'll definitely look forward to see you guys on the next one. As Jennifer and I like to do it, each one teach one, each one reach one. Everybody today. Be blessed, everyone, y'all. Salute. Bye.